Okay, page 101. Hello, dear friends. Good evening. The actresses with the mansion's private theater company were called to the tower of many splendors, where the Lady Dowager instructed them to give a performance at the Lotus Fragrance Harbor. All those gathered by the water were impressed by the beautiful music rising through the trees. Many of the group then started playing a drinking game with 3 dominoes. When it was Dai Yu's go, Yuan Yang read one of the dominoes. It was the sign for heaven on the left, she said. Dai Yu replied, a season of joy, a season of loss. Bao Chai turned to dart her a glance, but Dai Yu made no response to it. Instead, she continued by quoting from the play. Romance of the West Chamber. No maid has come with a message to the gauze window. Granny Liu followed the Lady Dowager to the green lattice convent, where the young nun Miao Yu led them to the courtyard. When the old lady and the others sat down and started to drink, Miao Yu fiddled with the lapel of Dai Yu's and Bao Chai's robe. The two took the hint and went out with her into a side room. Bao Yu followed them surreptitiously. Miao Yu then waited at the stove, fanning herself as the water boiled, and brewed some fresh tea. After trying the pure and delicious tea, Bao Yu remarked that it was the best he had ever tasted. Then you should thank your cousins for this treat, Miao Yu replied. For if you had come here on your own, I would not have offered you this tea. Yuan Yang then took Granny Liu for a walk through the grounds, with the rest of the group following behind. They soon came to the arch that had been built for Yuan Chun's arrival. Granny Liu got down on her knees to bow before it, saying, I have never seen such a huge temple. Everyone began to laugh. Granny Liu. Page 103. Granny Liu's stomach began to rumble, so she excused herself. However, everyone was confused when she did not return, and Bar began crying, wondering what had happened to his grandmother. Xi Ren thought that she might have got lost, and so went to look for her. When she arrived at Happy Red Court, she found Granny Liu asleep on Bao Yu's bed. Granny Liu was sleeping on Bao Yu's bed. After saying farewell to the Lady Dowager, the young cousins made their way back to the court. Before they separated, Bao Chai asked Dai Yu to follow her to Alpinia Park. Once there, Bao Chai smiled and said, "Remember those lines that you quoted yesterday when we were playing the drinking game?" Dai Yu blushed, remembering that she had repeated verses from Romance of the West Chamber, 西厢记, as well as Peony Pavilion, 牡丹亭. Bao Chai continued, "Since we can read and write, we should not let ourselves be influenced by those unorthodox books." Page 104. 104. Okay, I move everything aside so that I can read well. Okay. Dai Yu and Bao Chai's conversation was interrupted by one of Li Wan's maid, who had arrived to invite them to the Paddy Sweet cottage. When they got there, they found that since the Lady Dowager had asked Xi Chun to produce a painting of the garden, Xi Chun had decided to quit the poetry club for a year. Li Wan suggested that they could debate how much time off to grant Xi Chun. Dai Yu made a joke that Granny Liu resembled an old buzzing locust, and that Xi Chun should therefore paint a picture of her visit and call it Goosling with the Locust. That amused everyone. Dai Yu, Bao Yu, Li Wan, Dai Yu. Page 105. A great feast was set up in the mansion to celebrate Xi Feng's birthday, Wang Xifeng's birthday, which fell on the 2nd day of the 9th month. That was also the date that the poetry club had arranged to meet, yet Bao Yu was inexplicably absent from the meeting. Bao Yu had actually awoken at the dawn and left the mansion with Ming Yan. Together they had ridden for hours until they came to the convent of the river goddess. For the second day of the 9th month was also the date of Jin Chuer's birthday. Bao Yu asked for Bao Yu asked one of the nuns for an incense burner, then set about finding a clear patch of the garden. As they could not find one, they resorted to setting the incense burner on the edge of a well. When he bowed down before the smoking eagle wood, Bao Yu began to cry. So they look for an incense burner, and they burn it on a well. Jinchuer, because Jinchuer has suicide, so they decide to pay homage to Jinchuer. Page 106. During the celebratory feast, Xi Feng felt a bit tipsy and excused herself to take a rest in her own bedroom. Wang Xifeng, maybe this is Wang Xifeng, attended to by Ping Er. Ping Er is Wang Xifeng. This might be Ping Er. Ping Er is the maid for Wang Xifeng. As they made their way through the corridor, Xifeng spotted one of her own maid fidgeting nervously outside one of the rooms. However, when the young girl saw her mistress and Ping Er, she turned and ran away. Xifeng was filled with suspicion and ordered her to stop. She soon found out that her husband Jia Lian and Bao Er's wife were inside the room that the servant girl was guarding. So Xifeng crept to the window to eavesdrop. She heard the woman inside say, "I wish that awful wife of yours would hurry up and die. When she does, you could marry Ping Er. She would be a much better wife, and you would be much happier." Xifeng was filled with rage and slapped Ping Er first, and then Xifeng pushed open the door and ran shouting into the room. So they were Jia Lian, her husband, and another lady was having an affair, a liaison. Soon Madame Yu and some other woman came and led Ping Er away from the commotion. Bao Yu then took Ping Er back to Happy Red Court and managed to calm her down. Okay, that is one story. I will stop here.